take me down, spin me around. You got me running off the lights. Don't make a sound, talk to me now. Let me inside your mind. Don't know what you're thinking, sugar. Ooh, I just got that feeling, sugar. Ooh, I can hear the sirens whirling, red lights turning. I can't turn back now. So hold on tight.
Hello, everyone out there, and welcome back to the Elite Racing Network for the Austrian Grand Prix today from the Red Bull Ring. We are the Elite Formula One Championship presented by Shane D Designs today. This race is 70 laps, looking at the wrong thing here on my sheet. Zhao won the pole and the race the last time we were out at the racetrack in Canada. Joining me in the booth today, I have a new producer for Elite in Robert Hill Jr. and Nick Masse, as always. What are you guys looking for tonight to see here? And you guys think it will be a walkaway tonight?
Yeah, judging by what we saw in Canada, somebody's going to have to come out here and prove they have something for Gregorio there, because he just kind of walked away with that thing too. And especially with the two other guys we have in the championship, two top contenders, Scott Rambler and his teammate over there, Isaac Morris. They're not here tonight, so I think it's going to be tough for these guys to go out here and beat them.
Yeah, I believe we are wrapping up qualifying, or it has just wrapped. I don't have the sheet there, Nick. What are you seeing for qualifying results right now?
It looks like Gregorio's on pole here. Ethan Stanley's hanging right with him. The only two guys there in the minute 4 second bracket. But Ethan Stanley is only 3 tenths off the pole time there. And then a little bit farther back, you got Schlegel and Van de Sant. But this Red Bull Ring track, Chris, I've ran it a couple times. Fun track. We were talking about it earlier up here before we went live about the little. They got some sausage curbs running around this place, so if you hit one of those, it's kind of just sends the car wherever it wants to send the car. You can get damaged pretty easily if you bounce off those things. So it's going to be key to keep the car off those things all night long.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about track limits for Elite, but I saw that was a big talking point. I actually watched the F1 race this morning, and good run for the Haas cars, both scoring in the points there, finishing 6th and 8th. But there was a lot of penalties handed down for running too wide off those corner exits. So it seems like it's kind of like a short track there for F1. Is that correct? And saying that this is maybe their shortest track. They only had 6 cars on the lead lap, and it was pretty exciting.
Hey, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it ranks compared to lengthwise of other F1 tracks. Maybe our producer Robert Hill has some more information on that, some more context there, but I personally don't know that much. I know they change up the tracks pretty frequently, so. But
not too sure where this one stacks up. Schedule, not. It's definitely one of the. Like you guys mentioned, sausage curbs are definitely going to be something to look out for tonight. They'll send you for a loop. They'll send you into the wall, and can really.
And qualifying has wrapped, it appears. It's time to go racing. There's a good look there at the Red Bull.
And with the two championship contenders, talked about earlier, Isaac Morris and Scott Rambler not here. If João Gregorio there just kind of finds his way up there into the points, which with where we got 12 cars here starting tonight, shouldn't be too difficult to do for him, I don't think, as long as he keeps that car clean. I think he might take over the points lead tonight.
So you think we'll have a new points leader tonight, Nick? You don't think anybody's going to be able to go up there and beat the guy?
I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think they're going to have to get by him early here, get a good launch, get a good start, and try to hold him off. 'Cause I think it's a tall order. He's been just so good. Whenever he made his first start here a couple races ago.
Alrighty, here real quick before we get taken off here on the grid, I want to give a shout out to everybody at the Elite Racing Network, all the wonderful people who helped put this broadcast on. Straight from the top down, from Chad Frankenfield all the way down to our new producer, Robert Hill. Dave does a lot of great stuff for everybody. Everybody who helps make these things happen. Everybody here for the Elite Formula One Championship. Shane D Designs. They are big sponsor for this series. Everybody at C2 Freight. Their freight management service. Everybody at they offer EDI services as well. Blue Egg Marketing. Powerhouse Recycling. So none of this happens without all the great sponsors and everybody at Elite helping pulling in the same direction to bring these broadcasts live on YouTube.
And we are off.
Am I seeing that right? Ethan Stanley taking the lead down into turn one? Nick, I thought you said nobody's going to beat the guy that showed up tonight.
This is the way to come out here and do it. Get attack early, get by him. Oh, he locks up the brakes right there, going into that sharp right-hander. It's going to give Van de Sande a good run. No DRS here for 2 laps off the start. Oh, he's locking up the brakes again.
He's pretty excited about that pull.
And that's going to be key not to do, because you do that a little too much, and that right front's going to get worn real bad, really fast.
Van de Sande's really
Ethan's going to give it up. I think he got a time penalty or something, a little track limit penalty.
All right, so I talked about that. It's Iris enforcing some track limits there from where he ran wide. That's going to give it to Van de Sande there with a pretty good lead.
Yeah, and Van de Sande's one of those guys that we've seen in the Elite IndyCar series. Be one of the top championship guys. He might have won the championship last season. I'm not sure.
He did. He's coming off the championship just one of the few weeks back. I got to make my first IndyCar start there, and he got to win the title. And I'm looking forward to going out and giving those guys a run here in Elite B season for IndyCar.
We're gonna see you make your transition to the F1 series with him.
No, I think I would just be a hazard out here for sure. I like my fenders a lot, Nick. You've seen me running a stock car and whatnot. IndyCar is going to be a completely new learning experience. I definitely am not going to not be competitive in a F1 car.
And Gregorio, looking back at it, he actually started from the pits. I didn't see that initially, but he opted to start from the pits. So he's going to have to work his way up here, about 6 seconds off the lead. But 71 laps, plenty of time to make that up for him.
Here he is. Oh, Van de Sande. They're running really wide out of that last corner.
Yeah, you got to get all you can. There's some sharp corners here coming on these long straightaways, and if you don't get all you can, coming out of these corners, you're giving up a lot of time down the straights. Ethan Stanley trying to claw his way back into this thing. Fighting with Justin Vandermarle. He's actually going to get that spot back. So move him back up to P3.
This is the first lap with the DRS, correct, right here?
And Vandermarle's going to get it back. And Tate Lytle's right there behind these two.
Tate Lytle's just the everman coming off of another championship for him. You know, he's one of the guys quickly becoming one of the top guys, if not the top guy all the way across elite, and looks like he is spreading his wings out into some different series here.
Yeah, and you know, looking at the tire compounds these guys decided to start on, Tate and Zhao are the only two that decided to go with a hard compound. All these other guys going with the medium. So see how much that you know, that comes into play here a little bit later in this run when these tires start to wear. Tate and Zhao will maybe hang on a little bit longer than these guys on the mediums.
I do know who I'm worried about already when it comes to tires is we've seen Ethan Stanley lock his front tire up in about every brake zone.
And he's trying to find the limits over there, man. You got to figure out how hard you can drive it in these corners, and I think he's still looking for
it up. He is definitely going to need a new front tire here pretty soon, or some rear brake. Might be, you know, somebody might need to tell Ethan, you know, put some rear brake in that thing, get it off the front. Still pushing the track limits there too. It looks like.
And you got to get the dust off the track.
It looks like Van de Sant is driving away right now.
And these guys are running pretty close lap times. Van de Sant with a 108.3. Second place, Logo with a 108.4. And Ethan with a 108.5. So top three running really close in lap times.
Yeah, Ethan's right there. And I mean, I'm telling you, if he could quit sliding that front tire into the brake zone, he'd probably pick up half a second at least. Van de Sant's car is really giving me some Richard Petty vibes. I feel like there should be a big STP logo on the side of that thing. Van de Sant, just watching him make laps here, he is so smooth.
Oh man, can we get a replay on Tate? I just saw him. He lost 2 spots over here this last lap. I had to go back and turn 1 to lap 5. I was wondering what happened to him because I saw Zhao pass him and I was like, he wasn't that far back. So he got really out of shape in turn 1. Didn't hit the curbs, but I don't know how he hung on to this car because these cars are really hard to save once you get out of shape.
Ooh, trying to put the power down there. Little slide.
And he's lucky he kept that on track. Oh, he's still having some issues. Now he's on the sausage curb over here. But yeah, I mean, he's lucky he didn't get one tire off in the grass because with these cars, you seem to get one tire off in the grass and you're along for the ride at that point.
Well, and you talk about the mistake he just made this lap as he's off there and into the sand just a little bit. Once you make one mistake, what's your first thing, Nick? What are you thinking? You're thinking, I got to make that back up. That's when you start compounding one mistake into 2, 2 into 3, and then it's that third time you end up losing a race car.
And with these cars, I mean, it's just a little mistake could cost you the race. You know, you don't get a second chance to tow these cars back and fix them.
But as I was saying there before we went back and looked at Tate, like Van de Sant is just so smooth. I watched him in the IndyCar stuff. I've, you know, helped broadcast a couple of those races this season, raced in one myself. He is so smooth in that stuff over there. Translates right to here. We've seen him be fast in the F1 series when he can make it. He can't make every race, but when he shows up, he's always super competitive. So just a master at work. Looks like Martinez is going to be pitting here. Not sure if this is scheduled. I don't think it's a scheduled stop on lap 7. Turn 1 again, Nick. Clip that inside curve.
Oh, yep. Does he keep it off the wall?
No, I think he's going to make
Oh.
contact with the rear.
Just a little bit. But yeah, I think turn one's probably the hardest corner on the track because, cut a little too much. You got the sausage curb on the inside, and you swing out too wide on the exit, and you got the sausage curbs on the outside. So
Now, see, I
you got
would
to
think
really.
the corner that Van de Sant's in right now would be the hardest corner because that looks like it might be the longest straightaway into a heavy brake zone.
Yeah, I mean, that one's kind of the same situation. Got the sausage curbs on both sides.
Now, I know we're here as we're looking at a. Ooh, I thought he was going to take a look there at Ethan, but he chose not to just yet. Now, I'm not sure about the F1 cars around here, and you're talking about the sausage curbs and whatnot, and I know we're here for F1, but this track, it was brought up to me by you here in the pre-race, Nick, that we're going to be doing some Xfinity racing around here in B season. Do you think those curves will have an effect around here in a stock car, or do you think that in that stock car you'll be able to hit them pretty hard and be fine?
I don't know. It's tough to say. Like, I think the Xfinity car, I think those are high enough off the ground where they won't be that bad. I think you still definitely don't want to hit them, but I think you can kind of run over those and not have too much of a worry. Whereas in these F1 cars, are so low to the ground, if you touch them a little bit, you're gonna scrape the floorboard and you're along for the ride. But yeah, I think an Xfinity will be all right.
Oh, here we go. We got these two side by side for third. I think it was like some kind of challenge that Zhao had to start from the pits and be able to win the race because he is making great lap time.
You see, Ethan tried to get back by him there, had a DRS, and Gregorio shut the door on him.
Yep, he said not today. So what are you expecting to see here? Are we going to see two stops or one?
I don't know. The strategy kind of in these F1 cars always kind of throws me for a loop about what the right strategy is because there's just so many different options you can do. I expect these guys on the mediums. I don't think they're planning to go that long. They'll probably come in and take hards.
Yeah, when I was watching the broadcast this morning to kind of, I don't watch a whole lot of F1, so I was trying to learn a little bit and knew we had a race tonight and I wanted to watch. And they kind of are all over the place on strategy as well, one stop versus two. And a lot of times it looked like it might have been changing kind of by the seat of your pants on, we're just doing one stop and then they see somebody else make another stop and they're like, okay, we're doing two stops. So I kind of feel like it's a lot like what we watch here. It's kind of, we'll see what happens in the race and make that decision there. But I say that, and we have talked to a couple of those guys that we talked about tonight in the points. They've came up here and they've told us, they're watching track temperatures. They're doing a lot goes into what they're trying to decide for strategy and tire strategy and when to take what tires. And so I said that, but I'm kind of contradicting myself now. Like some of these guys are super in depth in it and are talking about based on temperature during the race is their decision on what tires to put on the car.
Yeah, I don't even know how they keep track of all of it. I think, like you said, we interviewed Zhao after one of the, I think it was, I don't even know what race that was actually, but he was, telling us about all the temps and everything. I don't know how he even keeps track of that, or if somebody's doing it for him, but.
Yeah, because I don't know what the temperature is. Like when I'm racing, I'm running one of these stock car races. I'm not worried about temperature. I don't even look at it. I couldn't even guess. I could just tell you, oh, it felt looser that run or tighter that run, and I mean it's incredible, But of course, we only have one tire compound, and we know 4 tires are better. So. We're trying to take a look here at a crash, but I'm not. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Tried to touch that sausage curb a little bit. I think he got back in the gas a little too soon. Sent that thing around.
Yeah, but no harm, no foul, right? He spun, but it's all right. He's trying to look like Van de Sande out here. I think that's what's going on. He's like, man, I want to make my car look like his because his goes fast.
Yeah, and then I mean, watching Van de Sande, I mean, it's unbelievable how close he's putting that car to the edge of the green where the sand is. I mean, he's a foot away from disaster if he gets that tire off in the gravel trap.
Yeah, I want to be Alex Van de Sande when I grow up and get into the IndyCar stuff and the F1 stuff here. I'm just a one-trick pony. Heading down into a brake zone here. See how early he brakes. Lets it feed out. Looks easy, man. Looks easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, he makes it look so easy.
No wheel lockup, hitting the perfect line. I mean, look at that. I don't know. I don't know how somebody can do that every lap and make it look like this. Is like we're talking here, how easy it looks, and it's just good stuff.
And for me, one of the hardest things about driving these is just how low you are to the ground. Because in a stock car, you can see a little bit out in front of you. With these things, I mean, you're so low to the ground, you don't have that, you know, that depth you can see in front of you. Like hitting your braking points and braking markers and stuff like that. They're harder to see in these cars, and it isn't like a NASCAR car or any other.
One thing I'm seeing here is there's some lap traffic out in front of him. Very easily could present a challenge for him.
Ooh, he got Van de Sande got really out of shape right there. I thought he was going to wreck it.
Could be the effects of maybe getting some air dumped on the nose here, getting closer to lap cars. Ooh. It looks like he might have surprised Mark there coming out of that corner. Mark wasn't really expecting him to go to that outside.
Oh, he's on the curb. Man, he kind of just grinded the curb all the way down.
And it looked like he didn't try to turn off that curb. He's on it again.
Yeah, I think when you're on it like that, I mean, if you're dead center, like you just kind of gotta keep the wheel as straight as you can and just don't hit the gas too hard.
Yeah, because every time we've seen somebody spin out so far, it's
right in front of the leader. Who was that? Daniel Martinez around, right in front of Van de Sande.
A little bit of smoke there off the tires coming off the corner here. Oh, trying to put the power down. He's going to spin. Going to make some contact with the inside wall. There goes. Going to lose the nose. It's the left rear look broke there too. Yeah, toe in as well. That's not ideal sitting on pit road with 3 tires.
No, sir.
Looks like I'm saying Tate Lytle's lost multiple laps here as well, so he had another issue that we have missed somewhere there. It looks like Van de Sande should be coming up on someone else here not too much longer. And then he should have a good gap. This is the next car to get lapped here we're looking at. There's Craig. It's a little ways. It's further than I thought. Looks like we got a new second place runner here now too. Oh, Van de Sant. Did you see him get loose out of one there? Got a little bit loose. You think he knows who's in second place now? He's trying to run away from him a little bit?
That could be part of it. I think the other part is probably just these tires, these mediums are, maybe not hanging on anymore, A little tire spin off these corners, a little harder to get the power down. And, I think that's where Zhao might have a big advantage on him because, Zhao's one of those guys that took the hard. So we'll see if that, becomes more and more of a factor here. Oh, Van de Sant spun out.
Oh, no. We have seen him get sideways, start losing grip. He's been kind of struggling for grip.
Yeah, it looks like you're talking about how he's putting the car in the perfect spot every time, just barely missing that gravel. I think he finally got it right there.
And Van de Sant is proving that he is human. We were talking about how great he is, how, we watch him, how smooth he is, and he is proving here that he is human.
And now he's got Zhao to chase in front of him. Third place, Schlegel right there behind him with DRS.
Now let me ask you, would you go ahead and pit if you're Van de Sant? Just make it a two-stop race right here. Pit and get hards here. Run the hards to like 50, 55. And then pit and get like another set of mediums or a set of softs.
Yeah, I think that's maybe one of the options here. I don't know what these other guys are planning to do. One stop, two stop. But times haven't really fallen off that much. I mean, we started out running 108s, and these top guys have fallen off to like maybe a 108.3. So not a ton of fall off at all. I think it's just a little more hard to get the power down after the corners.
Using a lot of runoff room here. I mean, we saw a possible penalty for that earlier, so...
Yeah, I wonder what the limits are down there, because Zhao was way out there.
Yeah, kind of trying to run away from each other here. We've got first, second, third under a blanket. I don't think Van de Sant was close enough to get DRS down that straightaway. Is he going to be able to close in and get enough here? I think so. I think he should have DRS right here.
I think he's just out of range. First, second, and third all within 2 seconds of each other.
Oh, Van de Sant's off in the gravel. Wow. Just pushing. I think those tires have got to be shot. If I'm him, I'm pitting. I'm throwing on a set of hards here, and I'm just going to go ahead and get into a two-stop strategy.
I don't know how he hasn't wrecked the car being off in the gravel, because if that were me, I mean, the car would have took off on me. I would have been out of the race for sure.
Just right out. Both those cars. You see all those cars go right out to that curb? Just using it all. Man, there's Ethan Stanley sitting there in fourth. There's Justin Vandermaal in fifth.
Oh, Van de Sant in the gravel again. Gonna give Schlegel a shot at him here.
I think if Van de Sant doesn't pit now and he's going to go in the gravel again. If he doesn't pit now and get hards, he's going to wreck the car. You can't keep. I don't care who you are. You can't keep getting away with these little mistakes, and eventually you're going to lose the race car.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can only struggle out here for so long.
Well, and not just struggle. You can only get away with so many mistakes before one just bites you right in the ass. I mean, if you can make pace by his pitting, I feel like his pace would be, he can make better pace pitting.
Yeah, 'cause the other thing he's also worried about is Schlegel behind him. He's got to worry about holding off him, making defensive moves.
And Ethan Stanley's behind him. I mean, we got everyone. They're right here. Our front four are right here.
And Ethan's been running pretty good times too. I mean, he's had DRS, but he's been clawing his way back up here in this top 3 battle.
There's Van de Sant with he's got about a second fall off on those tires. Just right here, all 4 in the same shot, just for a second there down that straightaway.
Ethan Stanley making the pass on Schlegel there with DRS into that braking zone. Give him P3 for now. And, Ethan Stanley, we saw him get that early lead. He's looking to get this thing back in control.
Yeah, the pull sitter, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of a surprise pull sitter. He went out there, got it.
But, I mean, the big question still remains, though. I mean, when are these guys going to pit? Who's going to be the first one to pull off?
Well, the fact that Van de Sant hasn't pitted, and we know his tires are shot, and he's on the mediums, tells me he's going to take it to at least 30 and make it a one stop.
And Van de Sant's within DRS range. You see that wing open on that pink and blue machine.
Stanley just had to serve another penalty there.
Ooh, I think Van de Sant's going to have to serve one here, too. He went way wide.
Just like the race that happened this morning there for F1, and we're having track limits as a major talking point here. Going by pit entry once again. The front 2 are starting to separate themselves a little bit. Wow, look at those track lights. How are they getting away with that? They're way over there on the side of those curves.
Yeah, I think the limits are the edge of the green. But I mean, I think Van de Sant had 2 tires in the red, so I don't know at what point it becomes a time penalty. Or you got to give back some time, but see, Van de Sant keeping them right there. I mean, not quite within DRS range this lap.
Now, I can't speak for how hard the leader's working right now. I can't speak for how hard he's working.
I think he's working pretty hard to see him lock up the tires right there. Ooh, Van de Sant almost lost it again.
But I know on those older mediums at this point, Alex is working really hard inside his race car. We can visibly see that car being out of shape. Here we are riding on board with the 88. Going down the chute here, down the straightaway.
And Van de Sant's so close to getting DRS. He's just barely out of range.
I mean, we saw him drive into VRS range and use it, and it didn't really help him. He's just there. I guess if you're Alex, you're staying this close, you're going to get hards at the pit stops. Zhao can't get hard. You know, you got to use 2 different tire compounds. So out in the gravel just a little bit again. Our front 4 were right on top of each other. Now they've kind of separated out a little bit. You got the front 2. Ethan Stanley has kind of cemented himself in 3rd for now, but we've already seen him have to serve 2 penalties for track, or for what we assume is track limits. It appears to be track limits. We keep calling it track limits. He might get out of the car and tell us later, you know, it wasn't. It was this or it was that. I feel like we're kind of getting. I feel like lap 30 is probably the lap. 30, 31. That puts us at 40 to go. I feel like that kind of opens up the window. If you could run 30 laps on mediums, if you're Van de Sant, you could probably run 40 on hards. What do you think, Nick? Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, if you can even make it to halfway, another about 10 laps. But yeah, I mean, you saw Van de Sant gave up half a second this last lap. Zhao, this lap was in the 107s. I think that's the first 107 lap we've seen. Since I actually had one a couple laps ago, but you know, one of the few laps we've seen in the 107 bracket. So maybe those hards are just, you know, maybe coming to life a little more here.
Yeah, my question is, I feel like Alex is going to pit here in the next 5 or 6 laps and get his hards. My question is, how long does Zhao run before he has to put on his set of mediums? I think Zhao would like to probably run another 10 or 15 from here. So I guess the question then becomes, can Zhao run better pace on used hards than what Van de Sant could run on fresh hards? I don't think so. I think Van de Sant would... If Van de Sant can stay this close after the way we've seen him struggle there for a minute, if he can stay this close, I feel like the advantage after pit stops is definitely going to be with Van de Sant.
See Van de Sant have a little trouble getting out of that sharp right-hander there, but Van de Sant, we talked about 107s. Van de Sant just backed it up, put down a 107.8, so a tenth faster than Zhao last lap.
Yeah, if I'm Van de Sant, though, I'm just trying to just get to the pit stop. Like, I wouldn't be trying to, like, run a wicked pace here. I kind of feel like this might be the lap that it kind of opens up where you could pit here and get your hards. Van de Sant about spun out again.
Yeah, you're so out of shape.
Like I said, I can't tell how hard Zhao's working, but we can definitely tell how hard Alex is working. Got Ethan Stanley right there in the 3rd spot. He's close enough where if these 2 guys get back racy again, and you know we don't know what's going to happen after pit stops, what not's going to happen there. What is Ethan? What's he on for a tire? Nick, do you have that information?
Ethan's on a medium.
So he'll be swapping to hards too. So he's set up pretty good for the next for the second half of this race as well. Taking a look there at all our front four, still yet to pit. Waiting to see the first guy to blink here. Nick, you've ran a little bit more in this car than I have. Do you want to be the first one to pit, the last one to pit? How does that all work out? Or does it not really matter first to last? Just, execute pit road.
I have no idea, dude.
We are really seeing Alex fall off here, losing pace. I think Alex needs to pit this time. I think he needs to be on pit road right here, getting his set of hards. I think if he stays out too much longer, he's going to hurt himself.
Yeah, we saw him within a second of our leader, and now he's back about 2.5 seconds back and still losing some time here. Zhao's still running a 107, so really competitive lap still out of the 88.
Here we come. Let's see if he makes this turn on the pit road this time. Not yet. He's still going to continue to run. Man, oh man. Oh, Ethan Stanley, though. He's on pit road. Here
We'll see
comes Schlegel.
We'll see what tire. I'm assuming these two are going to go on hard compounds. They're both on the mediums.
All these cars should be able to stay on the lead lap right here that are pitting as well. Ethan Stanley with the great execution on pit road, it appeared. So that's their one pit stop for the race. They will not be pitting again. So, what strategy do you like here, Nick? There's one driver that started the race on hards. He's the leader right now, but they were all pretty close. They're all swapping to hards. He's going to have to put a set of softs or mediums on here. As Mark Abellis takes his car on pit road. Alex Van de Sant's still out here.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be the guy to start on hards and, be able to put on the mediums or the softs later on in the race and just kind of attack, I don't want to be the guy that's on hards second half of the race and kind of just got to survive and make the tires last, Personally, that'd be my preference.
I think I like what they've done here, staying this close, because I think you can attack a little more on hards. Like when he gets softs, he's going to have to try to. Those are the tires you're going to have to make last. I mean, look at Van de Sant just losing a bunch of time right now. But when he puts on those hards, he doesn't. Oh, man, he needs to be on pit road. Van de Sant will not have a shot to win this race if he does not pit in the next lap or two.
But are we going to see these same struggles out of Gregorio, when he takes the mediums and he pits and has to go 30, 40 laps, is he going to have these same struggles that Van de Sant's having right now? Or cars just, a handful coming out of these corners.
Van de Sant is still not pitting. I just don't understand. I don't understand why he is trying to make these mediums last this long. Mark has crashed at some place here. Looks like coming out of pit road. Lots of guardrail here for this turn. Not sure what he's doing here. Is he waiting for someone to go around him, not to blend up? Or yeah, I think he's letting the leaders go by. I just don't think he wanted to blend in front of them at all. But yeah, if I'm Van de Sant might be throwing his shot to win this thing away.
Yeah, I mean, just the last lap alone, Gregorio beat him by a whole second.
Yeah, because you're on different strategies. There's no reason to make these things. There's no reason why you want to wait to pit with the leader. Like, you guys are on different strategies. He's going to struggle later. Come and get your hards now. You've made these mediums last far enough. Like, there's no upside to still be running out here right now.
In this last lap, though, he did beat the leader by a couple hundredths of a second. So it just kind of stringing the whole lap together. If he can string it together with no issues, he's fine. But
yeah, but it'd be so much easier to make pace if he would just pit like this. Look here, look. Yeah, see? That's it. Van de Sant's around.
That's a tough spot to be spun around too. Coming out of that sharp corner. Oh, he's still. Oh, he's in the wall this time.
He's done now. Now they're done. Yeah, just the call to keep running there when he could have been on pit road to get his tire changed. Like it wasn't a wise decision, in my opinion. We seen how bad he was struggling. Gets all the way over the curb, stays out there, tries to get the power down, loops it around. And then he tries to get back going again, probably pretty frustrated. Lights up the tires, gets it spun around, tries to go again here. Just the tires don't have any grip. Spins, catches that curb, and the left rear it brakes when it turns around and impacts the wall.
So now this is pretty much Gregorio's race to lose at this point. I mean, Ethan Stanley does have a lot of pace, or he did earlier. Him and Schlegel were right there with Gregorio and Van de Sant. So we'll see if these guys pitting a little earlier, taking the hard compounds, if this is going to work out for him.
Yeah, one thing I would do here if I was the leader in this spot, he's on his hards, so I would run as far as I can. I would try to make my hards last. I'd get inside of 30 to go for sure. Because those guys are going to be on those hards for the rest of the race, and they're probably going to have a little better pace than you the last 5 or 10 laps. So I would try to run my hards as far as they would take me here. Got one lap car here out in front of him. Not sure who is that. That might be Craig. Yeah, Craig Forsyth there. And when he laps Forsyth here, when he gets to this car, that is the 4th place running car. That will leave 3 cars on the lead lap when he gets to this car. Not sure if Forsyth has pitted or not yet. But we know of the front 3, Zhao is the only leader that has yet to pit. So there you have it. Craig Forsyth has not pitted yet either. Man, I really hate that for Alex. He had such good pace.
And see, Ethan Stanley's putting out some great laps right now. He ran a 107.4 this last lap compared to the leader 107.8. So still a lot of pace in that machine. We'll see how this all works out after pit stops. I know Ethan fell back before stops behind our leader by 5 seconds or so.
And the fact that he's outpacing the leader right now, too, is a good thing. Like, you're outpacing him now. And then, when he comes into pit, when our leader comes into pit, he will probably outpace him for about 10 or 15 laps. And then it will really flip the other way. Because Zhao's going to have to try to make these mediums last a long, long time. Like, in the perfect world, Zhao could run another 10 laps right here. If he could get to in the neighborhood of 20 to go before he has to put on a softer set of tires, that would be perfect for him. Taking a look here at Ethan Stanley. Still running pretty quick laps, pretty good laps. Lap car pulls over out of the way, lets him go. He's kind of driven off from Schlegel. Taking a look here through the field at the cars that are still in the event. Justin Vandermaal there running in 5th. Mark's the little engine that could tonight, sitting there in P6. Already 3 laps down, but he is not going to give up on his night after different issues in different places. Just watching our leader here make pace, make time. Ethan Stanley should be, as long as there's no mistakes made by Ethan Stanley, I think he's going to be within about 2 or 3 seconds of the leader. And depending on how much further Zhao goes, as Craig Forsyth's coming in to make his pit stop now. It's going to be very interesting to see how close Ethan is to him. If Ethan could somehow have the lead on the other side of the pit stop, that would be huge. To force that guy with, softer tires to have to pass you and use his tires up a little bit right out of the gate. And in my opinion, this is one of the hardest things to do, Nick. I don't know where you stand on it, but when you're that far behind somebody and you know he's going to pit and whatnot, you know the strategy game. I feel like the hardest thing to do is try to make lap time. Like if you see someone, like if I see somebody, I can work on catching him because I can see the gap kind of closing or moving out. I can see what he's doing. I know where I'm beat. You know what I mean? Where when you're just watching the stopwatch, I feel like that is the hardest thing to do. Forsyth still sitting in pit road.
Yeah, Craig Forsyth lost a lap there. That pit stop, Justin Vandermeer was able to get by him for P4. Not sure what happened to Forsyth, but definitely unfortunate for him, but should still get a decent finish here tonight.
Yeah, I think the only spot he'll lose now is Mark if he stays on pit road. Mark 3 laps down, his last car running in P6. And Forsyth is going to blend back onto the racetrack here. Lost 2 laps there.
If he was just able to stay ahead of Mark, he might still.
Yeah, I believe he still has a lap on Mark here.
Ethan's been pretty quick here in the last little while, staying close enough lap time wise to Zhao. So, like you mentioned, he may be able to be there at the end of the pit cycle and give him a little run for the last little here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Zhao will probably be very, very good on pit road and have a good pit road delta from cone to cone. Not sure what Ethan's was. I'm not even sure if we can have that information, but Zhao being a pro at these F1, pit ins and pit outs, huge deal. That cone to cone is very important here when you're talking about a race with no yellows.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to make up at time anywhere you can get it. On pit road, entry, exit, whatever you can do, you definitely want whatever you can.
What would be huge too for Ethan is if Zhao can make a mistake. Like he needs him to kind of make some kind of mistake to cost himself a couple seconds.
Yeah, that's one thing with Zhao. He's been pretty flawless so far tonight. He hasn't really made too many errors. They've had one off track or two, but that's about it. And he started on pit road in this event and worked his way up to the lead, healthy lead at that, and that's pretty impressive. Obviously, really have to wonder if Alex Vanderset had pit a bit earlier, would this have been a different outcome in this race? I definitely think he would have been able to give him a run.
And I still think Ethan's, this lead is kind of not true to the what we're seeing. He's on a different strategy. He's still got a pit stop to make. The lead isn't as big as it looks huge right now, but it's actually not.
If you consider last lap, Ethan Stanley was about a half second quicker than Zhao with the 107.7 to Zhao's 108.2. That you do that lap after lap, that's going to be pretty huge for you guys.
And looking at the pit road delta for Ethan Stanley and some of these other guys, it looks like it's about 20 or 21 seconds. So still a little bit of work to do if Ethan wants to jump Zhao whenever he makes his pit stop here.
Yeah,
But
but
he's
I mean,
slowly
Ethan
chipping
was
into it.
over 5 seconds behind him before the pit stop, and it looks like he should be a little closer than that for sure when Zhao makes the stop. What's the target lap you think for Zhao? You think 20 to go? Is that what he's trying to get to? You think?
I think he's definitely going to be trying to push this as far as he can. Obviously, saw what happened with Alex Van de Sande with the tires really falling off, and definitely going to keep that in the back of his mind. Time to pitting. But looking at his lap times, like he hasn't really fallen off too much ever. Last lap was the quickest lap. It definitely would have been, but I think he had a track limit there, which made the lap ineligible. Seems to be getting quicker and quicker.
We shall see what happens here after his pit stop. I'm really excited to see what it looks like after the pit stop and see if Ethan, once he's close enough for Ethan to see him, that might change some things.
You have to think right now, Stanley's doing whatever he can. Keep the car in one piece, keep charging forward, but without risking damaging the car too much, because he knows that Zhao has to make that pit stop.
Yeah, I agree 100%, but he also knows as he drives up playing a little bit of a risky game there, getting up on that curb. He also knows that he's going to be putting on a set of softer tires, and the further he goes, the less you feel like you have a shot to win this thing if you're Ethan Stanley, because I feel like if Zhao can make another 2, 3, 4 laps here, it's really going to put a big damper in the mood of Ethan Stanley here, because he knows Zhao will probably be able to make right around 20 laps pretty easy without losing a ton of pace. One thing all this does is confuse me even more about why Van de Sande had not pitted yet. Zhao has went 46 laps on this set of hards, relatively without issue. I just don't understand why Van de Sande was pushing as far as he was on the set of softer tires when we could see that they had given up, that they were giving up, and he just was holding on. I don't understand why he drove it until it wrecked.
You almost have to wonder if maybe Alec thought that he and Zhao were on the tire and match him. Hit strategy. I think at the end of the day, you feel that car getting as upset as Alex's was, and make that call to go to pit road, take care of it right. Because he could have definitely avoided those wrecks, and not that he had, just by going down pit road, getting that pit stop, getting those new tires, and come back out and charging again. But obviously, it's going to be something that Alex will hang his head about and really think about going into the.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point. He might not have known, but I mean, if you don't know, I mean, you've got to know that as the leader. Like that guy, when that guy went around you kind of got to know what you're looking at there for tires. Alex is a pretty smart guy. So that makes sense for why he stayed out as long as he did. I don't know. If you don't know, that's really kind of bad awareness there mid-race to not know that other guy's on the harder compound.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a look.
Zhao locking that right front up right there. The first time I've seen him get down in there and really slide a front tire.
Got to think he's coming up on lap 48 here, 48 laps tires, and definitely got to be considering coming down pit road. able to keep that gap back to Ethan 25.seconds, 25.3 now. Actually, stay out there, but you definitely think that pit stop's got to be coming soon for that fresh set of.
Yeah, and I feel like if I'm Zhao, like I can see the gap, I know what the gap is. Unless my car starts really just going away, I think I run this for based on a time deal. I think I run it until he gets like I would have to see Ethan Stanley pick up about 3 more seconds before I would pit. Because right now it's
Yeah.
been right at around 25 for a while. I would not pit before probably 15 to go unless he gets inside of about 22, 23 seconds.
Yeah, like you mentioned, you definitely want to keep an eye on that gap, see how close get to the back of Zhao. If Zhao can make the pit stop and still have Ethan within reach, then definitely stop and he definitely run it down just based off of his pure speed that he had all night, and the idea that he'll have fresh tires and Ethan's will be quite old at that point as well.
And it's not even just fresh tires; it's the fact that he's going to be putting on softer tires, which is why I would run it until I gave up 2 or 3 more seconds. Because I mean, if you could somehow get this thing to 15 to go, I don't think there's any way you're going to use up a set of mediums in 15 laps. And I think 22, 23 seconds still puts him out in front of Ethan Stanley with the set of mediums. You know, I think that would be, man, that would be the perfect situation.
It's gonna be interesting to see what they do here. Obviously, no matter what the outcome of this race is, Stanley's definitely going to be pleased with his performance. Obviously, prize pole this thing, and then running top 3, top 4 all night. Definitely a good effort by.
And as well as he's ran, he might even be frustrated with himself with those penalties he got. He got a couple penalties where he had to slow down. I mean, without those penalties where he had to pull off and slow down, he's closer than this right now and probably the leader on the other side of this pit stop, and it forces Zhao to maybe react already to a pit road. Instead, Zhao's kind of controlling this thing. As long as he's got a good in and out, I think he'll still be the leader.
Absolutely. Look at Zhao here. Is coming up on 2 more lap cars. Could make things a little bit interesting. Obviously, lap cars have been really courteous this evening, getting out of the way, giving lots of space, and saw you buy the lappers when you buy them. Ethan's hoping one of them makes a mistake here and gives him a good shot.
And we could even see a pit right here from our leader. You know, he might not even want to get to those lap cars. You know, I feel like 20 laps would be okay. I feel like he could pit here and comfortably make it, not press him or anything. So we might even see him pit here and just go ahead and not put himself in that situation to have to pass those lap cars. He's going to pass pit road this time, though. I think he will catch the first of the lappers this lap.
Could be coming up on Mark Vilas here momentarily, followed by Justin Vandermeer. Both those guys are having really good hits tonight. Mark in 6th and Justin up there in 4th.
There he went. Mark went.
Vilas may
Way
have
wide.
taken that a little bit wide there to give Zhao a bit of extra space. He has done that.
Not wanting to be the story.
You have to give him credit for that. Well, you know, Mark's out here. Yeah, not usually the front runner in these races, but he certainly does his best and does as many laps as he can, and obviously given the respect and courtesy to the all you can for, and goes to Mark.
Ethan Stanley's still just sitting in that same spot. You know, he makes up a little bit of time. He gives back a little bit of time. Makes up a little bit of time. I'm just thinking, unless something happens to our leader, it's probably going to be a second place. Oh, Stanley's around. He's back going straight, but that's going to make it a fight for second now.
Yeah, great save by Ethan Stanley. But not too far behind him is Hans Schlogel. So this could get quite interesting here in the last few laps. We go from talking about a battle for the win to hard battle for second place here. Is you know that Ethan's tires are definitely going to be upset at this point.
Yeah, and Ethan was just trying to make pace there to try to keep some form of pressure there on our leader. That's out the window now. As long as our leader just has a solid in and out, like it don't have to be great, you don't even have to be good. Just make sure you get in there at speed, be extra cautious. You've got plenty. Not even going to have to go 20 laps on these mediums. No pressure for our leader.
Depending on how Zhao's feeling, he may even think about the end.
Well, he has to pit. You have to make a tire change. You have to run two
Okay.
different compounds.
I mean, he can probably even go soft at this point. I mean, less than 20 to go.
I don't think there's a reason to put softs on the car. You've got the lap already, the fastest lap of the race. You got that point. Nobody else is probably going to take that from you. There's no reason, I don't think, to go with some kind of super soft tire.
Taking a look at the fastest lap, Stanley does have the quick time of a 107.28. Zhao's 107.3. He may want to make a run at that extra point.
Well, I mean, I think he could probably do it on mediums. I still wouldn't put the softs on.
Yeah, the pace he's had so far, even on the hards, definitely shows that he could probably do it on the.
Still no turn towards pit road.
It looks like he's pushing pretty hard still, too. I mean, we saw him off in the grass a couple corners ago, off in the gravel a little bit. So
Ethan
he's not.
Stanley, he's closed it back up a little bit, has he not?
Yeah, Ethan's definitely he's picked it up a fair bit here. Hungry, he wants to at least show that he still has somewhat of a chance. If Zhao makes one mistake, you know, I saw Ethan be pretty decent this last portion of the race, except for that one mistake. But we do have a crash on the racetrack. It looks like Marker Bylas may have wrecked his car. Let's take a look on the Whiskey Cast replay here.
Heading down into one of these heavy brake zones.
I'm gonna
Nick,
take
is
a
it
guess
sausage
that he
curve?
hit a sausage.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is this? Oh no, he's just gonna
Oh.
miss it. He's gonna miss it.
Yeah, just missed the corner and came back on. No harm, no foul there for Marker Bylas. He'll hold on to that P6 and
Telling you, with the pace Ethan's got right now, he has got to be fuming that he's had that spin, because if he would have ran this pace without that spin, he would have it down to about 20 seconds right now.
Yeah, he's gained 3 seconds since that last spin. You know, he may have lost all that time, but he's picked up 3 seconds on our leader.
And our leader is going to be able to say, "Oh, you're faster than me. I'm going to pit, get my mediums now."
you look at that last lap, and Ethan was 4/10 quicker than Jay. Gonna continue cutting into it, but might be a little bit too late here for him.
Yeah, he didn't need that spin. Like, I feel like he had a good shot at this if he didn't have that spin. But that spin has let Zhao keep running at this point without any kind of pressure. See, he's going to come get his mediums now. If he didn't have that spin, he would have had to get his mediums 3 laps ago. And now here it is, 15 to go. These mediums should easily take him to the end without any issues like we saw with Van de Sant earlier.
Oh, and he was even pit road speed way before the cone, taking it super easy, not taking any chances here, throwing this thing away.
Yeah, driving through all the pit boxes too. Man, that was pretty cautious. That might have been too cautious.
This is gonna be close,
close.
guys.
Yeah, he was.
Ethan
Really?
passed him.
Oh, wow.
Wow, he was way too. Did he not realize that he didn't maybe have that much gap to play with?
Oh my lord.
I'm surprised that because I thought that the delta was about 21 seconds. I thought it was wouldn't even be close, but
Yeah, but he was so slow coming in, like he was being extra cautious.
and Zhao did get the softs.
Zhao's pit lane time was about 6 seconds lower than Ethan's at a 8-second time there. That's definitely not helping him whatsoever.
Yeah, he had room to give. I would have taken it easy myself, but I wouldn't have crawled in there like that. I mean, he really, really crawled in there.
And he's got 15 laps to get him on these soft tires here.
Well, now I'm worried if he put on the softs, like, man, 15 laps on these softs, and he can't kind of ease into it. He's kind of got to dig. I mean, are these softs going to last 15 laps? I don't know if I'd have put the softs on.
Yeah, we saw it earlier with Alex Vanerstan. It seemed about lap 15, lap 16 in that run on his mediums, they seem to start going away, and that's 15 laps on these softs is a long time.
Ethan
locks up.
Yeah, driving down in there with the big lockup. I would probably defend. I'd make him go around the outside. I would not let him pull up on my inside.
And Zhao opted not to use the DRS right there. Didn't want to open the wing.
Ethan's just got to hit all of his marks. He's got to hit every corner. Pretty good through that section there, but Zhao should be pretty good for the next 5 or 6 laps at least, I think, right here. Tires got good heat in them. I feel like right here is going to be best spot for Zhao. I would just defend every straightaway if I was Ethan. I would not let him take the inside. I'd make him go around the outside every time. Late look, late dive. Just not enough.
Yeah, I think it was just too late of a dive. Couldn't hit the apex the way he wanted it to.
Yeah, and he came from, that was way far. That would have been a pretty incredible maneuver to be able to make a move from that far back.
Zhao's definitely pushing it here, but that last move there, trying to get him late in the corner, definitely hurt him a little bit more than he wanted.
Yeah, not just late. Like I said, he was just way far back, too. Like, you're trying to come in there from way, way back there at that point. You got to be a little closer than that.
And I mean, well, these guys are racing for the lead up here. Slogo's 7.5 seconds back, but you know these guys start racing pretty hard. I mean, last lap he was 3/4 of a second quicker, so might bring him back into this thing too.
Not going to take the look. It doesn't look like he wants to try to. Oh, Ethan gets out on the sausage curbs a little bit.
Oh, this is gonna be. He's gonna have a good shot right here. He's got a good run.
I like the move from Stanley right here. I would send it in here if I'm Stanley, try to get back beside him. All right, Ethan's got to remain calm right here. Zhao's on softs. I think in about 5 laps, he's going to fall off a cliff. So if I'm Ethan, you just kind of got to sit here and be smart. Even if he gets out there 4 or 5 seconds, your chance to win this isn't over because he has chosen to pick the softer tire here, like the super soft. Down into turn 1. This might be new quick time this lap right here.
Zhao's last lap time was a 105.78. That was quick time of the race, including a little battle. It might be even quicker.
As we come to a close in this thing, let's give a shout out real quick to some of our premier partners. We haven't done that yet tonight, I don't think, other than the initial start. So, you know, premier partners, Shane DiMantova Designs, They do some motorsport graphic designs. iRacing paint schemes. If you have any iRacing paint scheme needs, give them a shout. And of course, the premier partners who've been on board and all the other series: C2 Freight Resources, EDI Services, Blue Egg Marketing, Powerhouse Recycling, McConey Setup Shop. We got a ton of sponsors on board. Thankful to have them. We couldn't do it without them.
You talk about C2 Freight. We need to get Jeff Green out here in an F1 car. What do you think Jeff would look like out here?
Man, I don't know. I don't know if Jeff would like it that much.
Yeah, I think no matter what, if he was out here, we definitely have to get him up afterwards to let him know what he was thinking, because just knowing Jeff, I think he'd have some interesting comments about these open wheel cars.
Zhao's driving away, but I just feel like at some point he's going to run off the cliff on these tires. Ethan's kind of... I wouldn't want to fall too much further back than this if I was Ethan, but I don't know how much he can, probably not much he can do right now. I mean, I couldn't even tell you. Like, I guess Zhao's probably pushing pretty hard at this point, right? Or do you think he's trying to save these softs?
Yeah, I would think Zhao's definitely pushing it here, trying to get that gap on. Then he knows eventually he will have some fall off. If he can get himself a good enough gap ahead of Ethan, he won't really have to worry about it. We only have 9 to go here. He can get a 6-7 second lead over Ethan. I don't think he really has to worry too much about the fall off.
Yeah, he's just increasing this gap every lap. Pushing hard, definitely. You see him pushing the edge right there out of the last corner.
The one thing I will say about that last corner, I did an official race earlier today with Justin Vandermeerl, and that last corner, there's a curb off there that will send you around and into the wall really good if you hit it the right way. So he's got to be careful not to push it. May end up costing himself if he gets too hungry and starts pushing hard.
I do feel like here in the next couple laps is where these tires, we should see some fall off on them.
Absolutely. I'd say within the next 3-4 laps, to see Zhao's pace kind of fall off a little bit. Careful with all these curbs too, because front wings and these floors are pretty delicate on these F1 cars. So hits the grass there. That's a little scary as well, because if you hit too much of that grass, it's gonna take you and send you for a ride.
Continuing to show the way right now, though, which is all that matters.
Coming up on the lap car of Craig Forsyth here. Fairly. Craig's done a nice job here tonight, running 5th position. Nice top 5 race so far for him. I'm certain he'll get out of the way rather easily, guys, and let them do battling. Now grabbed a bit more grass here.
He's trying to keep the tires cool. Don't need them on that hot asphalt.
Right.
Yeah, at this point, he's got the gap. He doesn't need to push and create more gap. He just needs to make sure that if these tires do start going away and he starts sliding, that he doesn't, do what we saw with Van de Sant. Oh, Vandermeerl there just went completely over the sausage curve. Forsyth's going to do the same thing. He's going to stay out there and let the leader go.
You know, these guys have done a fairly nice job tonight. Obviously, yeah, been been a handful of incidents throughout the
There it
field
is,
that,
locked up the right front, getting down to that brake zone. So here we go.
yeah,
We got what, 7 laps here. He's probably starting to feel some fall off. I'm not sure what his last lap time looked like, but finally these tires are starting to show a little bit of the degradation here.
last lap time was a 106.11, 4/10 fall, 3/10 the bit off of. But as you see, he's pushing it a little bit more each lap, kind of getting further and further for those runoffs. And one of these times, he may grab a bit of dirt or some grass, and that may send him around.
Definitely pushing hard, putting the car right on the edge. Falls off just a little bit more.
Ran a 106.3. Stanley's 107.02. A little bit of a difference there, but he's doing a nice job keeping his car on track from what car, and Zhao's kind of getting closer to that edge.
Yeah, at this point, Ethan's not going to run him down. Oh, he's out in the gravel a little bit. Right there it is. Right? This is what Ethan needs. Ethan needs these tires to fall off for Zhao to have to work and maybe make a mistake because this car starts sliding around. Zhao needs to just have the awareness, though, to back off a little bit and not try to push the car. Oh, big slide coming out of turn 1.
And Zhao going for a third win in a row here. Third win on the season, third win in a row. See if he's able to hang on.
Yeah, the only way he loses this is if he makes a mistake. I saw him stay well to the right, stay well out of that gravel right there. It looks like he might be backing himself down. Couple near misses, and he's it's not worth the risk there. Lapper pulls over, gets out of the way, lets him go on around.
Tanner Merrill doing a nice job here in P4. Yeah, Zhao's definitely backed up the pace a little bit. He's trying to keep it on track, keep it. He knows he has almost a 9.5-second lead, and he can ride. Can keep this car straight, keep it moving at a reasonable pace. He should have this thing locked up.
Nothing is ever locked up, though, as you know. These races, anything can happen here. I know the odds of us getting a yellow are, I'll just go ahead and say, are 0. There's no way we're going to get a full course yellow. But we've seen people spin out tonight. He's on these old softs now. They're worn out.
That'll
3
actually
guys.
heating up here with Launch Logo running down Ethan Stanley. Second. Oh, never mind. More than that.
Yeah,
9
I think
seconds.
Ethan's pretty gone there. Taking a look back at our leader here. 3 laps to go, coming to 2 to go this time. Just 3 cars on the lead lap right now. Just look at all that. He is being very cautious out there. He is not. He's not going to be the reason that he doesn't win this race right here. Is what he's making sure of. Just 2 more times around the track. A healthy lead of about 10 seconds. Still been a great drive for Ethan Stanley, second place. Great drive tonight for him. Pole sitter.
The pole tonight overcame a few penalties throughout the race and slide early on, and gonna have himself a nice finish here tonight. He's gonna be happy with the result, but disappointed with the
I think the fact that he's over 10 seconds behind the leader, it's just a happy result. I don't think there's any reason for disappointment. You lost maybe 4 seconds in that slide, maybe a couple seconds in the 2 times you had to pull over a little bit and give some time back up. But I don't think you lost 11 seconds, 12 seconds, what it could, you know what I mean? I don't think he gave up that tonight. So I feel like the fact that Zhao was passed him and just drove away like this makes it pretty easy to say it's all good tonight. There's no disappointment.
absolute flag.
I think especially if you finished within 5 seconds, then you're like, man, I know where I lost 5 seconds tonight. I know where I could have made that up. You know, I feel like when you get beat up by this much, you're able to look at that and say, okay, what I did didn't hurt us. I mean, it didn't help us, but it didn't hurt us.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure has had a good run tonight. It's definitely gonna be the highlight on his review of the season, and Zhao as well. Like was third consecutive victories, which is pretty outstanding considering there is a lot of talent that does take part in this series. Zhao is definitely one of the talented drivers.
Yeah, we had a couple guys take off out of the gate pretty quick to start the season, and then not sure what happened. They disappeared, and Zhao stepped in, and Zhao is going to come here off the last corner, and he is going to win in Austria.
Zhao there. Stanley crossed the line for P2. Yeah, he's definitely pleased with that one.
And Schlegel will come across, and that is it for our lead lap finishers.
Yeah, actually, Justin Vandermeer crashed on the last lap, unfortunately, which, oh, he did make it to the line, so for Justin Vandermeer, fourth place finish tonight, and Craig Forsyth up there in fifth as well, so job by these guys.
And we'll get a word with hopefully our top 3 here. As Zhao gets third win of the season, third win in a row. In 2 weeks, we'll be going to the Daytona International Speedway, running the road course. I'm sorry, 3 weeks, not 2 weeks. And looks like we'll get a word with second place finisher Ethan Stanley, if we can get him up here. There he is.
Yeah, we've got Ethan now. Ethan, great run tonight. Great job on the pool. What did you need to be able to go and win this thing tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I underestimated how long he could really go on the hards, and if I would have known, I would have pit a lot sooner and switched over to him. But yeah, maybe just a little bit of a different strategy would have helped me out there. I think we had pretty similar pace.
Yeah, and Ethan, we saw in that pit stop there when Gregorio finally came in and got tires. We saw you were able to jump him there. I mean, were you kind of surprised that you were able to jump him from 25 seconds back, or however far back you were at the time?
No, I did a little bit of a calculation in my head. It's about 27 seconds to pit usually, and knew as long as I was in a certain window, I'd be able to jump him. But I knew when he put on the softs, it was over. Even with 15 laps to go, I don't think they had enough time to really wear down.
Yeah, we were curious how far he went to. We didn't, we saw you guys all were on a different strategy, and Alex kind of got bit trying to run a little too far on his medium. So we were surprised how the softs held on, but at the same time, he really backed his pace up the last 3 laps. But any sponsors you want to thank, shout out you want to give before we let you go tonight? Great run once again. It was great to see you guys up there, and we had 4 cars under a blanket there for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, I could shout out my esports team, Quantum Esports, my sponsors, 3Chi, Esports Furniture, 213 Simware, Glitch Energy, and Killer Jerky.
Well, all right, Ethan. It was a great run. We look forward to seeing more from you here in about 2-3 weeks' time when we get to take on the high banks of Daytona in the F1 series.
Should be interesting. Thank you.
Well, that looks like that's all we got here. Nobody else is in the Discord, so we got to talk to Ethan, and that's it. Any final thoughts from you guys about the race tonight?
Yeah, it was good seeing these guys go up and have something for Gregorio. I was kind of surprised that he had to kind of work for this one, Chris. I mean, I thought he was just going to drive away with the thing. We've seen it a couple times already this season. I thought this was going to be another one, but we saw Van de Sande up there battling with him, and then Ethan Stanley giving him a run for the money at the end of this thing. So hopefully we'll see more of that. I think a lot of guys are going to be a lot more familiar with the next course at Daytona, so I think they'll kind of even the playing field a little bit here. Should be a fun race next time.
Yep.
Absolutely. It was quite the race tonight. There was ups and downs for quite a few guys. Obviously, for me, quite proud to see 2 Canadians at the top 5 there in 5th with Justin Vandermeer and Craig Forsyth. Like you mentioned, Daytona next time out. It's going to be quite the race. A lot of guys know it. You may extra guys in the field just based on Daytona. I may step into the field as well. See what we can do, but what a night, what a race by Zhao and Hans and everyone else in the field tonight. And guys, thank you for having me out here, and I look forward to Daytona.
Yep, Daytona should be a fun one, taking on the road course over there. Not typical for the F1 series, but it's the thing about iRacing, you can kind of make it up as you go, make anything you want out of it, and take us to some unique tracks. We don't have to, logistically with the travel, may have to make it work, so we'll get to see something that you'll only be able to see on iRacing. And once again, from everybody at the Elite Racing Network, we had a great time tonight. Couldn't have any of this happen without our great sponsors, without Chad, Robert Hill tonight doing the broadcast for us, helping getting him worked in here. He's going to be doing the full-time Xfinity stuff, so Robert Hill's going to be around for a while. Of course, Nick Masse up here. Everybody here at the Elite Racing Network. This was the Elite Formula One Championship presented by Shane D. Designs. Come back and see us in